Hello my friends and welcome to another review with me, the Whiskey Novice. Thank you for joining me on my not so whirlwind tour around distilleries which I have yet to review. And this time, the turn of Glen Keith. Glen Keith. I'm going to say straight out that I imagine this is a bit of I'm going to add it into the overlooked category of these distilleries that I've been looking at that I've yet to review. Another one of those sort of supermarket ones. I've certainly seen it show up on the supermarket shelves and haven't reviewed it, sort of overlooked it because I felt like I was ahead of it, and that I have mentioned since I started reviewing these whiskies, which I'd never reviewed before, is, in my opinion, the wrong attitude. In my opinion, the wrong attitude. Certainly, I think I took the wrong attitude to it. Why should I overlook these things? You know, I ain't better than them. Anyway, Glen Keith. Let's have a look at what Glen Keith is. A Speyside distillery owned by the Chivas brothers, so Pernod Ricard, established in 1957. So quite a short history for these guys. They haven't been around that long in the scheme of things. You know, just shy of 70 years. But in the scheme of things, considering how up and down the 20th century was, any distillery starting anew in those years in the 1900s was a risk to take, but fair play. Somebody's seen a future in it, and Speyside, the ever-growing Speyside, I suppose at that time, Glen Keith was one of them. So let's get into this one, shall we, and see where we are. Bottled at 40%. Is it chill filtered? I imagine so. Is there colour added? I also imagine so, but it's a fairly simple thing. This one they call the Distillers Edition, or Distillery Edition, or whatever. The Distillery Edition, whatever that's about. But it's, you know, as I said, a relatively simple thing, but let's dive a little deeper and see what we think. Light, soft, mandarin orange. Yes, the fruity note, the fruitier note is of a softer fruit. Pear. Hints of brown sugar, yes. Hints of honey, yes. Honeysuckle, I'm going to say it. Floral. Butter, I did say brown sugar already. You know, that buttery brown sugar note. Caramel, vanilla. Carmack. You know, it's the sort of notes that we almost expect of Speyside. A typical Speyside. This, I would full on say, is a typical Speyside, and it's those honey, heathery notes. Maltiness. There is a maltiness, yes. Nothing really to complain about. It's simple. Palate. Sweet. Very much so. Sour, yes. Once again, creamy, malty, brown sugar and butter. Honeysuckle. I'm repeating myself over and over again with these, what I would consider relatively simple Speyside single malts. Finish, relatively short. Hints of that mandarin orange hanging around in the background, but not an awful lot else. Yes, the Carmack, maybe the small hints of sort of Carmack and chocolate. Simple. Yeah, very much so. Simple. But likeable. Let's add a drop, just a little drop of water and see. So, give it a bit of a drop of water, give it a drop of time. Weirdly, do you know, it does leap out a bit of the glass. Hints of bubble gum are what meet you whenever you go back to the glass after adding a drop of water. But apart from that, it hasn't really changed an awful lot. Certainly that, whenever I started mentioning chocolate and Carmack, it seemed to stand out more to me. So it is there. It is caramely. It is, and actually I would suggest that it's more so caramel than vanilla. And it's genuinely pleasant, and certainly inoffensive, certainly approachable. Palate doesn't change an awful lot. It gets a bit watery. It's a wee bit watery. It doesn't really accept water terribly well at that 40%, and that doesn't do the finish any good either. It's just simple, but we'll have to remember it's supermarket stuff. Certainly for us, 25 to 35 pounds. At 25 pounds, a brilliant, absolutely brilliant introduction to single malt, Speyside single malt at 25 pounds. I can't really say much more than that for it. So, what would I offer up as an alternative? Well, if I've learned anything in the few years that I've been doing this, it's that where YouTube is concerned, nothing is off the table. I would have sort of thought whenever I was reviewing innocent, cheap, approachable blends that who was going to watch a review of a blend that came in, under £20 a bottle. And then you learn that that's the ones that tend to get watched most. So here's the thing. Glen Keith, in Northern Ireland, in the UK probably, a supermarket shelf whiskey, as I see it. So there probably are quite a few people buying this, as a single malt, and I said it earlier on, it's a good representative for somebody starting out. So what would I recommend? Well, step up a little. I'm going to offer up the Glenfiddich 12-year-old. Not that much more expensive in the scheme of things, but coming in then with that 12-year age statement on it. So it does matter. It does matter in those cases. It matters whenever the price is right. And as long as Glenfiddich isn't more than 40, Glenfiddich 12-year-old isn't more than £40 a bottle, which generally you'll see it around that price or below. Well then, it's a good bargain for a 12-year-old age stated malt. It really is. It really is, even though it's only 40%. Around the £40 mark, it's a good price. So if you've had Glen Keith, the distillery edition here, which is a good introduction to Speyside single malt, and you found you really liked it and you wanted to extend your palate and grow a little, I would recommend then that Glenfiddich 12-year-old is a good move up. So there you go. That's Glen Keith done. Tick. I'll be back next time with something else. Until then, thank you very much for joining me. Thank you very much to my patrons. Should anybody wish to join that group, the details are in the video description below. Until I see you again, my friends, look after yourselves, and here's to your good health. Cheers.
Hey, thanks for watching my video. Please click and subscribe to be notified of further content.